Understanding of this superconscious capability that makes it a fact that your thoughts do become your reality. So keep your mind on what you want, keep it off of what you don't want. Think continuously, think non-stop, think all the time only about what it is that you want, and keep your mind completely off of the things that you don't want. The reason why so many people are unsuccessful and unhappy today is because they think continuously about the things that they don't want. The reason that a very few people, the elite, are successful, happy, prosperous, growing, and so on, is because they keep their mind on what they desire.
If you want to attract what you actually want, you've got to see yourself now already with it. And know it's only a period of time until you moving toward it and it moving toward you, and you become one with it.
We become what we think about most of the time. And that's the strangest secret. This is why thinking is so vital. This is why a goal is so important. Because we will become that. This is why people who set goals achieve them. The trouble with men is not in achieving their goals. They do that. It's in establishing them. And remember to think. Imagination is everything, and we can become what we can imagine.
Act like the person you want to become. That's not fake it till you make it, by the way. This is intentional. When you intentionally act like the person you want to become, your brain sees you taking those actions, so your brain starts to change the way it relates to you. But when it comes to manifesting based on science, I want you to think as manifesting as a bridge. Manifesting is a bridge that's made of bricks between you and the thing that you dream about. And what you do when you manifest is you don't manifest where the bridge is going. You manifest the bricks. Visualization is the bricks. And so what I want you to do when you visualize is you're capable of breaking any pattern. You're capable of getting control of your health. You're capable of launching a business. You're capable of making millions of dollars. You're capable of absolutely anything that you put your mind to. Because I do believe that people who put in the work get rewarded.
Your body is so objective that it actually believes that it's living in a whole new environment before the environment changes. In other words, the body's believing it's in that new future. And if the environment signals the gene, and it does, and the end product of an experience in the environment is an emotion, you're actually signaling genes ahead of the environment, and your body will begin to become conditioned to a new mind.
Most people don't focus on their mindset. Most people are focused on exterior factors. They think that everything that happens to them is by chance. And they don't realize that a lot of the things that happen to them are things that they attract. Because you attract the things that you are, and you are what you do, and you do what you think about. Most people don't understand the power of the mind. That's why they haven't tapped into the power of the mind. And the power of the mind is the ability to direct your attention towards a specific given objective, and then to have the willpower to pursue it. You need to have a clear goal. If you don't have a goal, you don't know where you're going to go in life. You need to be able to be very specific about the life that you want, about who you want to become. Mindset, your ability to develop thoughts, is extremely important, because your thoughts dictate and create your reality.
You can never lose faith. That's the key. You have to believe in something that you can't see. You have to believe when you don't see no way how. You have to buckle down and keep believing. God is always coming. The moment you ask God for something, He boxes it up and He ships it to you. Here's the problem with the package. He never gives you the date that it's going to arrive. It's going to come. He just don't tell you when. If He told you when, it would destroy the relationship that's required to have an abundant life, which is faith. I'm telling you, God got a plan for you that's so out of sight, it would trip you out. All you got to do is ask Him for it and wait on it and be willing to work. Faith without works is dead. That's all you got to do.
The power that created us has put everything here for us, but it's up to us to deserve and to accept. That's what we need to do. You know, what we concentrate on increases. So you want to be very careful that you're not concentrating on debt and lack and bills and negativity, because that's what's going to increase it in our life.
I know that until you make a decision that you no longer want to feel how you feel, or you no longer want to think the way that you think, or you no longer want to have the kind of results or no results that you have, until you make that decision that, you know what, I know I don't feel great, I know I doubt myself, I know I've had a lot of bad things happen, I know there's a lot that I regret, but damn it, with the time that I have left in my life, I really want to start to enjoy myself. I want to take better care of myself. I want to feel happy. You don't even have to believe you deserve it yet. You can just want it. You've got to start there. You've got to start with wanting something better for yourself. And then I personally think the most important thing is to start acting like the person who has the things that you want right now, even though you don't feel like it.
The only thing that screws you up is limiting beliefs that you don't investigate, that you just accept. It's not true. It's somebody said to you to say, you got to pay the consequence for this. The consequence is for you to change it. That's the consequence you should go for. So what I look to do with people is have them uncover what's really stopping them. And it's two things. It's the state you're in, the mental emotional state. When you're pissed off, frustrated, sad, depressed, overwhelmed, you can't fight your way out of a paper bag, right? Because in that state, you're not resourceful. If you are feeling playful or creative or passionate or driven or hungry or grateful, you get a whole different set of insights and thoughts. So it's learning to prime yourself, train yourself, snap yourself out of it physically that makes the difference. But then it's also finding what's holding you there. And what's holding you there is usually a blueprint, a set of beliefs, a set of rules. And when you see the truth, it instantly changes the game for you. When you witness it, when you experience what's real.
God never created a soul without giving them a gift. All of you sitting in here were given a gift at birth. He put it inside you. You ain't got to look under the ocean. It ain't on the mountain. It ain't under no rocks. He put it in you at birth. He gave you a gift. It is the thing that you do the absolute best with the least amount of effort. That's your God-given gift. That's the thing you should pursue. The scripture says your gift will make room for you and put you in the presence of important men. That's what your gift will do for you. Everything else you're doing has nothing to do with what God created you for. And if you're unhappy with your life, if you haven't figured your life out, if you're thinking there's more to your life than it is, it's because the only reason you have that question is because you're not living in your gift. Once you discover your gift, there lies your greatest chance for success.
If you take law of attraction seriously, you realize that everything in your life, you are creating it. You have to take responsibility. You're the one that has to visualize. You're the one that has to forgive. You're the one that has to do affirmations. You're the one that has to be clear about what you want and focus on all of those things. Nobody else can do it for you. You also have to give up all complaining. So if someone's complaining about something, it means they know there's something they can do about it, because we don't complain about the things we can't change. Remember, law of attraction always says focus on what you want, not what you don't want. Because when you're talking about what you don't want, when you're complaining and blaming, you're focusing on that which you don't want, and you're accelerating its expression out into the universe with those negative feelings. And yet we'll spend a majority of our time complaining about so many things.
When the brain starts to relax and it moves into less of that chatter that takes place in your brain and more of kind of an imaginary state, the brain sees in pictures and images, it's more creative. We're moving into that alpha state. So now the door between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind opens up as we get beyond our analytical mind. And our analytical mind is actually what separates the conscious mind from the subconscious mind. So as you slow your brain waves down, you get into alpha, you're entering the operating system. And that's where you can rewrite a new program. That's where you can rehearse a new script. That's where you can begin to plan your behaviors in an intentional way. If you can't change your brainwaves, then it's like your computer running amok with all of those programs and you yelling at it, telling it to stop. You're not in the operating system.
Key to your success in life is to use the power of your subconscious mind to program it with thoughts, words, pictures, ideas, and feelings consistent with high performance, and keep your mind on what you desire and off of what you fear. Remember, the only thing in the world you can control is your thinking. The only thing in the world you can control are your conscious thoughts, and if you will do that, everything else will become possible for you.
All the great leaders, all down through history, as far back as you want to go, have been in complete and unanimous agreement on one point, that we become what we think about. And why is that so? because we have the freedom to think anything we want. We can originate thoughts, or we can pick thoughts just out of the ether. And we can internalize those thoughts. We can bring them together and build beautiful ideas, or we can build terrible ideas. But the ideas we build are going to determine the vibration we're in. And the vibration we're in is going to dictate the energy that we attract to us. Now ask yourself, what do you really want?
Manifesting is the ability to use the power of your mind to change and create the reality you experience. There are so many layers to it. The first step is obviously to know where you want to go, to be clear in your vision, because focus is everything. So people often say something quite vague about their lives. They're like, yeah, I want to be happy, or yeah, I want to make more money. They're not specific about where they want to go, but if you were going to a party and you wanted to put in Google Maps where you're going, you'd need to put the street address, the postcode. You need to be really certain as to where you're headed. You wouldn't be vague about it. And manifesting is much the same. You need complete clarity, because when you have a clear vision, you have a clear goal, essentially your subconscious gets to work on making it happen. It will start filtering out unwanted information. It will seek out opportunities. So your brain is just working for you. And so we don't manifest from our conscious thoughts, but from our subconscious beliefs about what we deserve.
You get absolutely better returns at the top ends of achievement, because oftentimes assets pool to the winners. The problem is, to achieve the highest levels, you have to give up proportional amounts of the things you hoped the achievements would get you. There comes a time when the hard work you have to do is learning that you can't work any harder any longer, and that you have to change what got you here to what will get you to where you want to go. You can work to get anything you want, but you have to sacrifice the other things you want to keep it, and that's sometimes harder than the work.
Everything is a binary choice. You're either believing something that takes you where you want to go, or something that takes you away from where you want to go. You're choosing love, or you're choosing the opposite, which is fear. It's like it's a computer code, 0 or 1. Which do you want to choose? Now you have to become conscious, because most people around you are unconscious and they're just agreeing with everything that's negative. Sure. That's why you want to hang out with positive people.
Right.
But if you read books like this, if you go to seminars and you meditate and you listen to podcasts, surround yourself with positive energy, pretty soon you get engulfed in this positive thinking, and then all of a sudden your life transforms.
Right.
Learning how to concentrate is absolutely essential to success. As a matter of fact, it is impossible for you to accomplish anything worthwhile in life without the ability to concentrate single-mindedly on one thing at a time and stay with it until it's complete. In fact, time and motion studies have shown that if you start a task and you put it down and you come back to it and pick it up and start it and put it down and come back to it and pick it up, that it will take you as much as 500% of the necessary time to do a task than if you picked it up and carried it through. Alec McKenzie, great time management expert, Alec McKenzie calls this single handling. Once you have made a list of what you have to do, organized your goals, determined the highest and most valuable priority, then pick the most important thing and begin working on it and stay with it until it's finished. Now people say, well, if I stay with this task until it's finished, I won't get anything else done. That doesn't matter. If it's the most valuable thing that you have to do, it's the most important thing that you could be working on.
If you cannot write down right now on a piece of paper, this is what I want, then you can't have it, because your mind will get for you what you want, but you have to feed it a vision of what you're looking for. The function of the mind is to make coherence between your belief and your reality. If I believe it's not going to work, then the function of the mind will manifest a situation where it doesn't work. If I totally believe this is how it's going to work, then my mind will set me up in a situation where it works that way. And all of a sudden, that's when you start to realize, wait a minute, it's not chance anymore. This isn't chance. This is creativity. And we are creators.
If you advance confidently in the direction of your own dreams and endeavor to live the life which you have imagined, you will meet with a success unexpected in common hours. It will chase you. And you're not doing it so that you'll make money and be famous and get on the New York Times bestseller list. All of those things are just bonuses that come from you fulfilling your dharma, living an inspired life, and not being willing to take no.
The winners that I know always feel that they're behind. The winners that I know always feel like they should have done more at the end of the day, even though they worked harder than everyone else around them. The winners that I know always feel they're behind, that they should have done more than they did that day, that they could have achieved more, they could have made more, they could have added more value, right? And that's That is a mindset that you can develop. That is not some kind of innate trait that I have or other people have that you don't have. You can develop that by setting higher standards for yourself. The problem is that your mom and dad and school teachers and everybody around you has conditioned you and indoctrinated you in becoming average and accepting average.
Most people only pay attention to the final product of a successful entrepreneur. They say things like, I can never be like them, or they got lucky. What most don't see is what they've overcome. All the struggles, the daily rejections, the heartaches, the betrayals, the rumors, the criticism, the empty bank account, and all those lonely nights while trying to make their vision a reality. You see, the only difference between the one who quits and the one who doesn't is that they showed up every day. They worked hard every day. They hustled every day. They learned from a proven mentor every day. They improved every day. They did all this even though they felt like quitting every day.
The soul cannot go to the adventure of the future holding on to the emotion of the past. If you say, I don't want to feel guilt, I don't want to feel suffering, I don't want to feel anxiety, I want to feel resentment, I felt that enough. Can I teach my body emotionally what it feels like to live in a new life without any experience? I can bring up this feeling on my own. If you keep remembering to feel this way and begin to embrace elevated emotions and you feel differently, feelings are chemicals. And if you keep reproducing the same chemicals over and over again, it's going to be easier for you to feel that way. And if you start thinking differently, you start acting differently, you start feeling differently, then your life begins to change.
Imagination, your imagination. What do you want? How do you really want to live? Build the picture in your mind. There's a power that is flowing to and through you. A creative, unadulterated power. It can be photographed leaving your body, where you can actually photograph a person's body and you will see the energy glowing from them. Well, that energy flows into your mind. And it's the images you build in your mind that's going to dictate the vibration that this instrument you're living in is in. And the vibration on a conscious level is called feeling. Make certain that you exercise your imagination daily. Build beautiful images in your mind of how you want to live, and then hold those pictures there and live that way.
When you sit there and you intentionally, mentally rehearse the steps you need to take, there is something that you owe the universe and you owe yourself, and that is to take the action. You're not just going to sit there and train. At some point, that Olympic athlete has to do the race. At some point, you've got to make the cold call. At some point, you've got to quit the job or pack the U-Haul trailer or get off your ass and do the training run at 5 a.m. So you better believe there is going to be something that is asked of you in return. And that's where the magic comes in. Because the magic is in your actions. And manifesting, according to neuroscience, just gets your own fears and people's judgments and your childhood wiring out of the way so that you can take those actions.
Self-discipline carried Wilbur and Orville Wright through a multitude of failures and enabled them finally to give the world its first practical airplane, an achievement which has made the world smaller and changed the entire trend of civilization. Self-discipline helped Helen Keller to triumph over deafness, blindness, and dumbness, a combination of afflictions such as most people never experience. Self-discipline helped me to carry on through years of heart-aching discouragement and defeat, and give the world the first practical philosophy of success based on the know-how gained by hundreds of men and women who spent a lifetime by the trial and error method in discovery of the principles which lead to personal success.
Develop the characteristic and quality of decisiveness. We know that the reason why we are indecisive is because we're afraid of making a mistake.
But the terrible thing is that the way that we think becomes a habit. And the habit of indecisiveness can condemn us to failure. We can be talented and intelligent and ambitious, but if we cannot make the hard decisions in our life, and if we cannot make decisions readily, then what happens is we always have to work for people who do make decisions readily. Now, the interesting thing about decisions is that about 80% of decisions should be made the first time they come up. 80% of decisions should be made the first time they come up. And if you make decisions every single time they come up, sooner or later you will develop the habit of decisiveness. You'll be very clear about what it is you want, and it's easy to make decisions if you know what it is you want to accomplish.
I think most people feel really lonely when you want something that doesn't currently exist. And so some people call that dreams, some people call that goals, whatever it is. You're trying to pull something from your mind into reality, and you want it done a certain way, and if it's not done that way, it's not what you imagined. And so people on the outside will throw stones and call you names that they think will change your behavior and get you to stop. And the more I have been the person trying to pull things into reality, the more I've tried to weather and build kind of defenses against those things, so that when those stones get hurled at you by being called a control freak, or by saying you micromanage things, or that you have incredibly high standards, the answer is yes, because I want it done right the first time. Because either way, if you have enough will, it's going to get done the way that I want it to get done regardless, and it'll be less painful if we just do it right the first time, because we will still have to do it, and you may have to do it 3 or 4 more times, but eventually you'll just succumb to the fact that we're going to do it this way. And I think all of the great things that have happened for humanity have been from one man or woman who had an idea and just wouldn't let people shake it from them.
So you want to find out what resonates with you. What is it you really want to do? You want to experiment with life and find out what fits for you. You have something special. You have greatness within you. You have the ability to do more than you can ever begin to imagine. See, I believe that anybody through observation and practice can perform at the level of excellence. But when you're pursuing your greatness, and this is worth writing down, you don't know what your limits are, and you act like you don't have any. So I say to you, you have something special. You have greatness within you.
And the brain tends to be electrical in nature, so it sends out an electrical charge into the field. The heart is the magnetic charge. It's what draws things to us. It's the magnetic field. And now you actually, by changing the way you think and the way you feel, you're changing the signal in the field. And if you're able to maintain that state for an extended period of time, I say something magical is going to happen in your life. Something unusual, some unknown experience is going to occur. If you keep thinking the same way and feeling the same way, your life should stay the same. So
you don't need anybody to approve your dream. It was given to you. If they can't see it, it's because it wasn't given to them. It was given to you. You're going to get thrown to the ground again and again and again. But when you have determination, and you know that what you're doing is right, it gives you your life, it gives a special meaning and power to you. I refuse to be denied. And I'm going to go all out. I'm going to be relentless. I don't care how many no's I encounter. Doesn't matter how many failures I've made. Doesn't matter how many mistakes I've endured. Doesn't matter about my defeats. Doesn't matter about what I've done. Yes, I can.
Everything is vibration. You put out a good vibration, the only thing that responds to a good vibration is a good vibration. Bad vibrations are on a different frequency. They don't mix each other. And this is part of the physics, quantum physics. You put out a vibration, you're going to get back what that vibration is. It's called resonance. And so if you're an unhappy person and you're broadcasting that, the only person that will be affected by that unhappiness, somebody else is unhappy because they're resonating from the same thing.
People can't get up in the morning and they can't get out of bed. I'm going to tell you why. Because they can predict the feeling of everything that's going to happen in their life. And their body's resigned to the familiar. It says, oh, another mundane day. But remember when you were a kid and you were going on a field trip? What happened then? You were up and dressed and ready to go before your parents were up. You know why? Because you knew something unexpected was going to happen. That's how we should live our lives. Waking up with the understanding to expect the unexpected, and something unusual should happen in our life as a result of our efforts. And it's just those beginning moments where it begins to happen that we begin to prove to ourselves how powerful we really are.
You can have, do, or be anything you want if you controlled your mind. The law of attraction is basically saying whatever you focus on with energy and repetition is what you're going to tend to bring into your life. Most people don't realize that their thoughts are in the toilet. There are things like, I'm not good enough, it's not going to work out. All of these kinds of negative thoughts keep people shut down. They don't go for their dreams. What the law of attraction is teaching people is that you have a choice. You can change your thinking. Start to generate what you do want to think. And this is where things like affirmations, positive thinking, positive statements, instead of saying I'm not good enough, begin to say I am good enough. The reticular activating system in the brain responds to repetition, imagery, and emotion. Aim where you want to go by choosing what you want, getting an image of what you want, fueling it with passion and love, and then you can start to create it almost organically and automatically.
How do you connect these? If you can see it here, and you have the courage enough to speak it, it will happen. So, a lot of times people believe in certain things, but they keep to themselves. They don't put it out there. If you truly believe in it, if you become vocal with it, you are creating that law of attraction, and it will become reality.
If you see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand.
The thoughts we think and the words we speak are constantly creating our future. Our beliefs shape our life.
Ask, believe, receive.
Success begins in the mind. Whatever you can clearly imagine, ardently desire, and firmly believe, you can bring into your reality.
Have you ever asked yourself what differentiates the winners from the masses? Well, I have. I've researched the subject now for over a quarter of a century. And I have found that the winners are aware of a certain place within. It's referred to as the higher self. And in this higher self, there's an image of perfection, which is forever attempting to express itself in a greater way. When the winner wants to turn their dreams into physical realities, they call on this higher self. And they set about and change the world, not just for themselves, but for everyone in it.
It's a choice. It's a matter of the heart. That your mindset could change your whole atmosphere. That you can turn your mess into a message and your test into a testimony.
Any thought, plan, goal, or idea that you hold continuously in your conscious mind and that you intensely desire must be brought into reality by your superconscious mind. If you can hold it continuously, if you can emotionalize it, if you can visualize it in your conscious mind, the superconscious mind will begin to organize the entire universe of experience around you to draw into your life the people and circumstances necessary to make that idea come true.
Write everything you imagine down. Write it all down, pray about it, and watch what happens. You got to start believing in your imagination. But you have not because you ask not. So if you see the vision, but you don't ask God for it, what you want him to do? He showed it to you. Faith without works is dead.
It's the law of the universe called the law of abundance, the law of attraction. You can have anything you want once you know what it is. One of the main lessons you come to Earth to learn is how to manipulate energy. Everything is energy. Mm-hmm. And you come to Earth to learn how to manipulate that, to be a master manifester. First, you have to know what you want. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people say, well, I need this, I want this. Those are the wrong words. Uh-huh. In creating your reality, if you say, I need, I want, well, see, you're creating a lack. And you're putting it off by, I want it. No, the wording is, I have it. And you gotta believe it. Because if you can see it in your mind as already done, already happened, it must occur. That's a law of the universe.
Do you know you can use your imagination to go into the future and bring it into the present? That's what all highly successful people do. They see where they want to go, and then they act like the person they want to become. It was William James from Harvard's advice. He says it's the actor's technique. Act like the person you want to become.
Ask, believe, receive. So many people overlook this very simple quality. You don't have to figure it out. That's what freezes people. When you're trying to figure out your life all the way to the end, when you can't figure it out, it freezes you from trying it because you go, oh, well, I can't figure that out. Oh, I can't go over there because I don't know how. You don't have to know how. You have to ask, believe, and receive. That's as simple as it gets, folks.
This is the truth. If you can see it here, you can hold it here. Yep, you can entertain the idea, you can cause it to move into form because you are in harmony or can be in harmony with the laws that govern your being.
Thoughts are like drops of water. If you drop a drop of water on the table here, and it doesn't mean much, but if you keep dropping and keep dropping and keep dropping, the table becomes a wash, and then you get a puddle on the floor, and then you can get a little pond and a lake, and finally you can create an ocean. And with our own thoughts, we can drown in a sea of negativity, or we can float on the ocean of light. And it's up to us. The thoughts we think accumulate. And what sort of puddles are you standing in? Or are you up to here? Or are you up to here and trying to paddle? When we're willing to change our thinking, we can change our experiences.
My name is Jordan Belfort. That's right. I'm a former member of the middle class, raised by 2 accountants in a tiny apartment in Bayside, Queens. The year I turned 26 as the head of my own brokerage firm, I made $49 million.
All the experts are agreed that in each of us, there are deep reservoirs of ability, even genius, that we habitually fail to use.
You have perception, the will, memory, intuition, reason, and imagination. These marvelous tools. We can take our imagination and build an image in our mind of how we want to live. Block out what's going now. Don't let your present results have anything to do with this. Just what you want. And it's with your imagination that you will build it. Everything that we have, the camera that I'm speaking to right now, was first created in the mind of one individual.
You already have within all that's required to attract literally whatever you want into your life. You can see it in your head. You can hold it in your hand because that is the frequency. Match the frequency of the good you desire. If you hold the dream in your mind and you don't let the outside world control you, you will attract everything that you need, and that space will fill in. The way will be shown.
You have got to start expecting great things to happen for you in order for it to happen. It is the law of attraction. It is real. It is nothing fake about it. The Bible says a man is as he thinketh. If you live your life in expectations, that's what happens to you. If you live your life in despair, that's what happens to you. If you say all men are dogs, you're going to meet every last one of them. I'll never be rich, you won't. The moment you change the frequency that your tower emits, different things come back to you.
The imagination is the most marvelous, miraculous, inconceivably powerful force the world has ever known. Now, the imagination is the mental faculty out of which visions arise. Visions. Pictures that we build in our mind. Most people don't use their imagination constructively. Most people use their imagination destructively. They imagine what they don't want. We've got to consciously and deliberately imagine what we do want. If we will take and sit down with a pen and ask ourselves, what do I really want? And write it down. And then make a written description of it in the present tense. Writing causes thinking. Thinking creates an image. And you get these images going, you're building a vision in your mind. It's the visionaries that change the world. Think of that. The fact that I can sit and look into this camera, and you can sit and look at me on your phone,
or on your TV or on your laptop. That was the result of somebody's vision.
The most important thing in the world is what you believe about yourself. That's the most important thing. Your entire experience is fabricated out of what you believe about yourself. You know, I used to get down on my knees and pray all those nice little Sunday school prayers for years, trying to get a God in the sky to do something for me. And I didn't get very much until I learned that God wasn't working for me from up in the sky, but God is working for me from within my very own mind. And the verse of scripture brings this out. Be you transformed how? By the renewing of your mind.
Now, the estimates by the experts in this field are that most of us are using somewhere around 5% of our real potential. Some experts say as little as 1%.